If I could have everyone's attention in the media center, we're going to continue on with this afternoon's media availability. We are joined today by our most recent Monster Energy Series winner, Clint Bowyer, driver of the number 14 Mobil 1 Rush Truck Centers Ford. Clint, what did you do in your off weekend? And can you tell us a little bit about, coming in off of a second in practice, how you feel about going into this weekend's O'Reilly's Auto Part 500?
Yeah, it's just, man, everybody knows that everything that comes with a win, we've seen it in this sport over the years, the momentum, the confidence, the shot in the arm. It's exactly what our team needed with our 14 team. Unload off the truck here and went right back to the top of the board. That was felt pretty cool. But all four of our Stewart-Haas cars are really fast again here at a totally different racetrack. Crazy how you can get your cars with a good balance on them and really rolling through the corners good. And for whatever reason, today's day and age, it doesn't matter if it's at Texas Motor Speedway running 200 mile an hour or last week at Martinsville. It seems like if they're fast at one track, they're going to be fast at the next. A lot of fun to be in those Fords right now. Had a ton of fun, obviously celebrating that win. It was a long time overdue, but it felt good to be able to do that with our guys and our partners and everybody that was involved with that win. It was pretty special for me. So enjoyed that, and then got to get down here to Texas. And man, I've always come to really embrace this place and love it, love the area. It's amazing. I think this area is growing more than any place we go to. You look across the street and all the development over there, and just how fast we went to. Was it Jerry World or was it the Star? Or is that the same place or what? I thought it was two different. It's two different places there. So the Star is where we went, right? Is that the practice field? And I was completely blown away. Ford took all the Ford drivers last night, and we got to play football, a little flag football game between amongst all the Ford drivers on their practice field. We all realized that we're not football players. I dropped the ball that was the most easy touchdown in the world. I mean, I couldn't imagine. I ran for the exit, but I couldn't imagine being a football player and dropping that pass in front of 70 or 100,000 people. I mean, people are there. But went to Peterbilt factory with Rush Truck Centers yesterday. What a place that is over in Denton, Texas. Got to drive a brand new Peterbilt off the factory line right there. It's just been a fun couple days already. So looking forward to qualifying hopefully tonight. And, obviously another good race.
Fantastic. Well, we'll go ahead and open up the floor for questions. All right, we'll start over here.
Pat DeCole, NASCAR.com. Clint, was there ever a point over the offseason or towards the end of last year where you guys knew you had something for this year that was going to, be as dominant as an organization?
Well, there's just again, we went through another offseason of a lot of change, with the way that we tech these bodies and everything else. The new Room of Doom, who knew, what that was going to, what kind of role that was going to play within our sport. And it's been good. You had another manufacturer get a new body in the off season. I was a little bit nerved up about that, knowing that the Fords were the last one to that. But it's been go cat go. We focused on everything that we can control and worked hard in the off season. Everybody, the aero department, the chassis department, we made gains in every area, and that's what you have to do in at this level of competition that we compete against week in and week out. You've got to be able to make gains almost weekly. And Doug and everybody over at Yates, that horsepower is them babies are screaming under the hood too. So it's a lot of fun to be in this equipment right now.
All right, we'll go over to Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, Kicking the Tire Stand at PRN. You brought it up, the inspection issue. I know you were excited after the race at Martinsville. You jumped on the hood, on the top of the car. Were you worried about any inspection, or did you not give a damn at that point?
No, you're completely out of your mind. I didn't know. I saw Kyle Larson do it, and he's about the size of a horse jockey a while back. I'm thinking, my old butt can get up there, and damn, my roof caves in. I guess I'm no Kyle Larson. I need to cut my body in half to slim down a little bit more if I'm going to be doing that. But hell no, you're just that place is so special when you get out of the car. I mean, those fans are right there. I mean, literally, you're like, hey, man, that was pretty cool, huh? You don't even have to yell at them. You know, they're so close. So just like I said, it was a long time since I've won, and just felt fun, and I embraced it and took it all in and had fun with it. I wasn't worried about that, no.
We have any other questions? Right here.
Yeah, Brett McMillan with PRN. Well, you won it one short track with Martinsville. Next week, Bristol, completely different. What's the biggest challenge about that place?
Just, you know, the same things, rolling through that corner and not abusing your stuff, having a good neutral balance on your car to where you can do that and not have to lean on that wheel too hard, not have to, you know, be too hard on the gas pedal and you know, burn them rear tires off. Just the whole package. Whole different gremlin though, man. Martinsville is that's like old Sunday afternoon cruise, you know, and you go to Bristol and there's no room to breathe or you know, to do anything. You got to be on your game, but definitely high on my radar, you know, coming off a short track win like that, you can't help but to look forward to Bristol and another place. It's so special to all of us because you know just how difficult it is to win there. So yeah, hopefully we can make it 3 in a row just like my teammate did, be like him.
I'm going to jump over here to Bob. And then we'll
Bob
go to
Hocker, CSPN. Did you notice, well, just how were the grooves in practice today? Could you notice them having run the tire rubber on the track?
Yeah, I appreciate the effort. Yes, hopefully that'll help when the race happens. But I mean, you just, you know, from the first lap on a track, you're hunting for that bottom and getting to that white line. These repaves, they're all that way. We try to do everything we can do to make sure that there's enough rubber burnt into the track to where that outside line is you know, runnable and passable when we need it in the race on Sunday. But for right now, qualifying, I didn't notice a whole lot because I really didn't focus on running up there.
All right, we're going to go to Nate.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Clint, when Kevin was talking to us earlier, he mentioned that he feels like Stewart-Haas Racing is, make sure I got this quote right, is the most stable team in NASCAR. And he talked about whether it was financial commitment from Gene Haas or Ford or the lack of turnover among the employees. Did you notice that when you came to Stewart-Haas? Have you noticed it more since you've been there? Does it feel like things are stable relative to other NASCAR teams?
Yeah, and I think they're probably even more stable than when I walked in the door last year. I mean, I thought that last year. You just don't have turnover, you know, and when you really think about that and you look at those are employees that wanted to go over there when it was established with Tony, and they're still there today. That speaks volumes of the ownership, the leadership, the management, so on and so forth, all the way down to the drivers, the partners that are on those cars. It really just feels like family, and it's pretty at ease. It's easy to be an employee there. You want to be an employee there. You know, when you go to the shop, you enjoy the conversation. I mean, for me, it seems like over half the employees are dirt racers. You know, they're either got a kid racing a modified or helping somebody with a late model, and they're racers. You know, even the engineers, like I said, a lot of places I've been, you talk to an engineer and they don't know what the hell you're talking about when you're talking about a dirt late model or something like that. Talk about some equation or something and they might get interested, but even there, you know, the engineers are like, tell me, what are you running in the left rear of that deal, or what are you doing to the right front? You know, I mean, it's a bunch of racers all the way through, from the engineering department to the engine shop to the chassis shop, guys in the shop. They're racers.
Is that a credit to, you think, Smoke? That he gets
Well,
those
I
people?
mean, you know, obviously, it's a credit to him. Everybody had the confidence in a champion going over there. He took a big step in going over there and forming, you know, his half of Stewart-Haas. But it's a big credit. You can't leave out the boss, Gene Haas. You know, everybody knows that he steps up whenever needed. The conversation with Gene is, when are you going to win? How are you going to win? What do you need to win more? It's never anything about anything other than that. He's so competitive. I mean, you see it in his business practice. You see it in F1. It's so cool to see those cars starting to make some noise over there. That's on a global scale, and you know, this guy's doing it over there just like he does in our world.
We're going to go across the room to Drew.
Yeah, Drew Davison with the Four Star Towing. Clint, going back to the football deal at the Star, kind of Do you remember who the quarterback was that you dropped the ball from, and who's the best Ford football player? Or
Well,
Ford racing-
Stenhouse was over at my Jayhawks doing something, a promo leading up for the Kansas Speedway race, and they gave him some gloves, some receiver gloves. And let me tell you something, they ought to ban them things. That's ridiculous. It made a football player out of him. Whether he was a quarterback or a receiver or anything else, he just had to hold his hand up, and the ball basically just stayed there. So he was clearly cheating, but leave it up to a bunch of racers to try to cheat up a football game. We may or may not have been hiding our flags, tying them up. I got blocked by McDowell. I was like, it felt like a linebacker. I mean, it's, like I said, should have felt like a horse jockey hitting you or something. This was a full-on linebacker that hit me, knocked the hell out of me. But we shared a laugh, and I really did enjoy that. That's something that Ford, I've been with all the manufacturing. It's something that's really stood out with the Ford family is they try to keep it a family, keep it fun, and we certainly appreciated that gesture going over there to such an awesome, venue. And I mean, we were in their we ate dinner in their conference war room where they're going to be doing the draft. It almost felt like we're overstepping our bounds. The head coach. What a cool thing that was. 8 o'clock last night, he comes walking in the door, introduces himself. He was there watching game film, getting ready for the draft. It's fun to learn other people's worlds and the dedication it takes to have success in that, and certainly they have that going on over there. I still like my Chiefs, though.
We have any final questions for Clint? No? All right, thank you so
Thanks,
much.
guys.
Good luck this weekend. All right, everybody, we're going to continue on. We're now joined by Erik Jones, driver of the number 20 Research Toyota. Erik, you've had a lot of success here at Texas. Can you just walk us through coming into this weekend and your outlook on it all?
I think Texas has always been a place that I've enjoyed from really everything I've ran here, from trucks to Xfinity and now in Cup. The repave changed it a lot here last year, and made it quite a bit different than what it was. A little bit different. I've enjoyed it so far. It's been a fun track, but always like coming down here. I love the track. Really like the area as well, and it's just one of my favorite places we get to go to.
Fantastic. We'll go ahead and open up for questions. All right, we'll start up here with Nate.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Very significant question here. Have you seen the new kids on the track thing out here that you're a part of?
Well, I've seen it. So we were actually just talking about it in the hauler. And I don't know the new kids on the block. So I was born in 1996, and the last year they were a group was 1995. So they asked me what new kid on the block I was, and I was like, man, I got to be honest with you, I have no idea. So I saw it. It's cool. It made me laugh. I like the sign they put next to it better. At first, I thought Harvick actually put it there. I was like, that's pretty funny. But then I realized track did it.
Speaking of that, there's been a lot of chatter the last few weeks about the generational divide and if the older guys are jealous. What's your take on that? What Harvick and others have said?
Well, I think it's it's just cyclical. I mean, we haven't had a young crop of guys all enter the sport at once in, I don't know, probably 15 years now. And when you see this many young guys coming at once, obviously I think NASCAR's done a good job of trying to promote us and giving us, an advantage early on to get our names out there and get some more fans and get some more exposure. And, we all appreciate it. I mean, we're willing to, to take advantage of those events. And I think Blaney said it well I guess it was back at Media Day now in Charlotte. I think we're just more willing to take some of these opportunities that they're not willing to. A lot of them have families and want to spend as much time at home as they can. And, for us to take a trip to, wherever or spend some extra time somewhere isn't as big of a deal. So, I think we're just more willing right now to take advantage of some of those opportunities.
Do you have any other questions? All right, we'll go up here to Jim.
Jim Hunter, Motorsport.com. Erik, you guys have been fairly consistent so far this season, but haven't led any laps since Daytona. Where do you feel you are right now, and do you feel you're about the same as your JGR teammates or missing something?
I think I feel like Denny and I have run really similar most weekends. Kyle's obviously been a little bit of a step ahead of us, running, up in the top 5 consistently. So we just need to take that next leap of getting up towards the top 5 and contending more and leading laps. We did a good job of that towards the end of last season on the 77, of running in the top 5 a little bit more. And we're running better early on than we did last year. We're getting some top 10s. Martinsville was a struggle, which is it's always kind of been for me. So that wasn't too much of a surprise. But we've ran well on the West Coast, and I think coming to Texas, this is the weekend where I've kind of got marked down where we get up in the top 5 and hopefully contend more throughout the day. Auto Club was a better race for us. So hopefully coming here, we can get up and just get some more stage. That's a big thing we've been missing out on is stage points this year. We haven't done a good job. Our midpoint of the race we haven't ran as well as we should have, and haven't earned those stage points like we really should have. So, hopefully this weekend we can get up front and run in the top 5. Yeah, it definitely gives you some confidence. I mean, it's very different, but I would say on a repave like this, the 2 cars are more similar than maybe any other weekend. So there's a lot of things I feel like I take from the Xfinity car that, that assisted in some speed. So getting over to the Cup car, there's a lot of things that I remember from last year that we needed to work on. There's a new left side tire here this weekend, which has been really different. We fired off practice nowhere near where we needed to be, but did a good job of getting it turned around and getting it close. So we'll kind of see where it goes, but I think there is a lot of information I can lean on for my Xfinity stuff here.
We're going to go over to Claire, and then we'll bounce over to Lee.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. I read a quote from you that I thought was really good about the aggressiveness in Kevin Harvick, and when you come in and you're very young, kind of deciding how to be aggressive and then how to lay back. Where are you on that right now?
Starting the year last year, I thought I was kind of laid back and, biding my time and finishing race as well. And then as the year went on, I got more and more aggressive and, at times would get myself into accidents, and we had a lot of DNFs in the midpoint of the year and towards the end of the year, which we really was my own fault quite a few times. So, I think just trying to find that middle ground this year has been important to me. And finding out a good balance of, charging hard. I mean, you want to run as hard as you can every lap, but sometimes you got to take what it's giving you. And if it's a 7th or 8th place day, it's a 7th or 8th place day. And I feel like there was times where we had a 6th or 7th place car, and I was really pushing the limit to get it up into the top 5 or 4. And that's when we would get into trouble. So, I think early on, these first few races, I've done a better job at it. We just, need to keep going down that path.
All right, we'll take it to Lee.
I was wondering about you're 4th on the list in qualifying averages. How do you kind of maintain that to where your finishes are, getting closer to where you're starting? Some people, they have the other problem. They can't qualify, and then it's like a pain in the ass to come through the field. But you're starting out on the right foot. How do you finish there?
I was home last week in Michigan, and I was laughing because I've got a lot of pole awards from go-karts and late models, and I don't have as many trophies as I have pole awards. So, I think going fast in my career hasn't been the issue. I think sometimes we just don't have, I really have optimized my car for speed, which is great, but it doesn't transfer over to the race, and we don't race as well into the long run. So, I think we're kind of working out some new stuff over on the 20 team. I mean, it's 2 new engineers than what Chris worked with last year and what I worked with last year. So we're kind of all learning each other and figuring out what we need to do, from from happy hour to the race and overnight, and balancing out those adjustments. We had really gotten to a point last year where I felt really comfortable in saying what the car was doing and what it needed, and we would make really good changes and start the race off really strong. But so far this year, I feel like there's been times where we just haven't started the race where we need to be. We've ended practice decent, and then we, the changes we make overnight aren't exactly what we need. So we just need to improve on that. And, if we can do that, it'll bode a lot better, obviously. We just got to start the races better. That's been our issue.
Has it helped to be in-house rather than, being with a team that's, thousands of miles away?
Well, it's definitely nice to see everybody. I enjoy hanging out with my team and being around the guys and being able to go up and see Chris in person. It makes it easier just to discuss things. It's you can do as much as you want over the phone and everything else, but there's nothing like just getting to go face to face and see and talk to talk to Chris, talk to the engineers, talk to the guys on the car. So it's been nice for me. I've enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time at Furniture Row, but it's definitely nice to be able to see everybody face to face again.
We have any final questions for Erik? All right, Erik, we'll have a good weekend.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to continue on with driver availability. We're joined now by the pride of Prosper, Texas, Chris Buescher. Welcome.
Thanks, Erik.
Chris, you started off with a fifth place finish at Daytona. You were 19th fastest in first practice for the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500. But enough of that. Tell us about what you did during the off weekend.
Yeah, so on to the real stuff, right? Yeah, we went and got married through Easter weekend, so that was really good. Emma and I have been, let's see, we started planning last year before there was a schedule out for this season, and that made it very difficult because she didn't want to win her wedding, and we didn't have our off weekends known yet. And the only one we knew of was we knew we wouldn't be racing on Easter, and then it threatened to rain out Atlanta, and then it threatened to snow out Martinsville, and it seems like Easter weekend was always the fill-in date. So definitely had us nervous through all of that. We didn't have to do anything crazy. We got our wedding in. We did it on the Saturday because we didn't want an April Fool's Day wedding, which happened to be Easter this year as well, and didn't want our anniversary to be a big joke every year. So we tried to make that work out, but it was a good time. We had a lot of friends and family come into town and come out and hang out with us. Everything went really smooth, and we had a good time. So now we're back to racing. We're done with our off weekend and get to come home of all places. So not a bad last couple weeks.
Chris, talk a little bit about your the copper paint scheme on your car and Kroger's increased involvement with number 3017.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got Buescher's Baked Beans on board of our Camaro ZL1 for the next couple of weeks. We've had them on board. This will be week number 2, and I believe we got 2 more after this. Car looks excellent. I know we're trying to go after the simulated look of the can of a can of Buescher's Baked Beans, and the color really looks excellent in the sun. It really pops. Something different, which my mom really appreciates because she can't see very well, and she says she can find this one on track, so that's good. But I think it looks really, really awesome. Glad that we changed it up this season, got something a little bit different. Typically we've the Buescher's paint scheme has been very similar for the last several years, and to really shake that up and have something different with the new Camaros. The paint scheme came out really nice. It accents the body lines well, and like I said, it's just a different color, and I like it. I like different, so I'm all on board with it.
We'll open the floor up for questions for Chris. We'll come down front to Lee.
Dinger said you had some wicked dance moves on the floor at your reception. Is that accurate?
I thought he was gone by then. I didn't know he was still watching. So we took dance lessons, and we did two lessons, and the woman that did it did a fantastic job. We went into, like, I believe it was Uptown Charlotte. Went and met up with her, and she said, "All right, tell me what you want to know, and first off, tell me what you already know." I said, "Well, I don't know anything. I can't sway. Like, I can't even do that. I can't just sit here and act like I know what I'm doing." She's like, "Okay." She's like, "And what do you want to learn?" I said, "The Dirty Dancing lift at the end." And she said, "All right, we're going to back that down a little bit." So we compromised, and it actually came out really good. We were able to at least look like we had some clue of what we were doing out there. It was a good time. We actually had Billy Dean showed up for the wedding. I got a big surprise from one of my best friends there, so that was really cool. And then we had to dance a lot more than we intended because of that, so that created a whole nother thing. I don't come from a family of dancers, for sure. My mom was terrified of the mother-son dance. absolutely terrified, more than I was. And I will tell you, for the months leading up, the only thing I was worried about with the whole wedding was the dancing. I was good with everything else. We've been together almost 6 years. Like, I was ready to get married, go through that. We had everything in place, but the dancing was terrifying.
So are there videos? And I mean, I would think, being from Texas, you would at least know how to two-step. And
See, you would think, but I don't, and it's bad when I try. Just bad.
So videos?
I think we asked for no video to be recorded there, but who knows? AJ's got something. He hadn't showed me yet, but I'm sure somebody's got something.
And as far as the cars, before the season started, Dad said that JTG was going to have a technical alliance with Hendrick. AJ, I think he was on one of maybe the hub or something, and was saying that you guys really don't have technical partners. So I'm kind of wondering, which is it? Where do you guys sit? And with the development of the new Camaro, where are you getting your help from?
AJ made this difficult then, huh? When he said that. No, we do have the alliance with HMS, and we are going through and doing a lot of work with them. We have a lot of correlation back and forth there. I've been doing a little bit of the wheel force testing in the Chevy wheel force car, which is operated by HMS, and trying to basically make everything as seamless as possible to be able to develop our own stuff. In essence, though, we're not trying to take a car that they are building from start to finish and plug it into our system and go race it. It is our cars based off information that we are getting from our alliance and from our program. And so that's what we're trying to do, is build up a little bit of independence at the same time we go through with this. Yes, it's a relationship, and yes, we are depending on them for a lot of information, but at the same time we are building up our own program to where we control our own destiny in a lot of different ways. And so that's I guess that's the way I see it. I don't, maybe not as far as, just handing a car over and saying, hey, this is what, you're getting from us. It's a lot more information, a lot more data from wheel force car, from wind tunnel testing, whatever it may be, so that we can build our own race cars up and have something to go out on track and be competitive with. Yeah, this will be a better judge. The beginning of the season, we have made gains. Our cars are better in certain areas, and not as good in others. But for the most part, it's been steps forward, and I think that's great. The Camaro Z01 body in general is a better body. We're starting off from a better base product, and with the new system, the haunted house, or whatever you want to call it. There's an official name for it. I don't know what it is, but the laser show, whatever, go through that. It said Hawkeye. It's the official name. Optical scanning system station. All right, so the haunted house has really really changed the way that you can manipulate stuff, right? And so it's something that has created challenges to try and build on the base product. But as you go, I know a lot of teams have purchased their own systems to be able to figure out how they can use it to their advantage and use it as efficiently as possible. We do not have one of those, but we do have other body scanning programs and machinery that is a pretty large investment that we made through the off season, and that Tad and Jody and everybody involved has really stepped up to do. And a lot of that's been thanks to Kroger and their program and their involvement in our program this season, and them really stepping up and wanting to be a bigger part of this race team.
Additional questions for Chris?
Quiet crowd today.
Well, all right, Chris. Well, thank you for taking time out. Good luck this weekend. Congratulations.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one.
All right, we're going to continue on with our driver availability this afternoon. We are joined now by Ryan Blaney, driver of the number 12, Team Penske, Menards, Richmond, the water heaters expert, Ford. Ryan, you were the class of the field last year. You won the first two stages, led a race high 148 laps. And now we'll fast forward to this year. You're off to your best start in your Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series career, and you currently sit third in the standings. So talk a little bit about what you and the number 12 team need to do to win Sunday's O'Reilly Auto Parts 500.
Yeah, just putting a full race together. I thought we had a good shot to win this thing last year, and we kind of got behind a little bit on some strategy stuff and pit calls, and we had a good race here in the fall as well. But I think it's a good start to the year for our team. I think Ford in general obviously has a ton of speed, and it's nice to be in that camp. Obviously, we'd like to get a win over on the Penske side, but when Ford's winning, it's helping everybody. But I think we're really close. We just need to close that little bit of a gap to be the best cars out there, and I think we're getting there. I thought we had potential in first practice today. We'll see where we're qualified, but yeah, it's a fun racetrack. It's aging well, which is nice. It seems to be widening out a little bit more, and I think that'll be even better in the race. So that's just a matter of time and putting in work on that tire dragging deal. But we'll see what we have for him Sunday. Hopefully we'll be competitive and have a shot. So
we'll open up for questions for Ryan. Start over in the corner with Lee.
As comfortable as you were here last year during the race, where would you size up where your car is right now compared to that?
It's kind of hard to tell. We just did mock runs today in qualifying trim and first practice. So I think we're kind of just as good as we were. Honestly, in practice last year in the spring race, I didn't think we were great. And we fired off the race and started second and led a ton of laps. And our car was a lot better in the race than what I thought we were in practice. So it's kind of hard to judge that unless you're just dominant in practice. But I think we're right there. Obviously there's a few Haas cars that were really fast in first practice. But I feel like we're pretty similar. But, you never really know where you stack up until everyone kind of gets in race trim and gets running laps. And you can kind of see, where you're at after 10 laps and 15 laps and things like that. So I think that's a little bit early to tell.
Go over to the left.
Ryan over here to your left. Drew Davison with the Ford Star Telegram. Clint was talking about you all going to the Ford Center where the Cowboys practiced last night.
Yeah.
Kind of just talk about that experience and what you thought of the facility and playing a little flag football with some other drivers.
Yeah, that was really neat. I've been to the Cowboy Stadium before, about 5 years ago, where they play, and that was really cool. So now to see that new training facility they got, I think that's only a year and a half old. They were saying, and it's amazing. I know if I was a college kid coming out looking to try to figure out what team to go to, I'd sell me and sign me up. Where do I sign? And it's really impressive. We sat in their war room and had dinner where the draft happens, where they sit there for the draft, which is really cool. So they opened it up to us a lot, and Ford and the Cowboys made that happen. And then playing flag football, I've never played football, professionally or as a kid or nothing like that. I only like pickup, and it's I think it was 7-on-7, and it's good that it's 11 players on each side because that's a big field. It's a lot of ground to cover, and we were huffing and puffing, but it was a good time. No one got hurt, which was good, and Clint didn't throw up, and it was. I thought he was going to, but it was fun. So yeah, that was super cool to see. That place is amazing, and they've done a really good job building that and making it very professional. So.
Go up front to Nate.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Ryan, I'm sure you saw the banner out here that Eddie put up. How does it feel to be part of the new kids on the track? And do you know who the new kids on the block are?
I've heard the new kids on the block. I've never listened to any of their songs. I might know a song. No, that's not him. I thought I got them and Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch mixed up. The brothers and New Kids on the Block. Well, I got half of it right, relation. But I thought that was pretty funny. I saw a picture of it last night. I don't know who tweeted it, Gluck or somebody, but I thought that was pretty neat. Eddie's always done really well at kind of making things fun and light and things like that. And then I saw the average age sign, the small one next to it, and I thought that was pretty funny. But no, it was just cool to be part of that group. I've said it all along. It's just really fortunate to be involved in, not only in NASCAR, but to be involved in this younger driver group, with some of those guys. So I never really look at age. They're just all competitors to me. I don't really, honestly, I don't really understand the hate that everyone gets for the younger veterans. It's not a rivalry. It's not a competition where we compete. I don't care if you're 18 years old or 50 years old. You're just all competitors. But I thought that was a pretty neat thing that Gossage did. I laughed at it. I like how he has me throwing up the peace sign too. I've never done that in my life, and he made me do that. So,
Additional questions for Ryan? Bob?
Bob Hockers, ESPN. Did you try the top groove at all in practice? Is there any real rubber up there?
Not willingly. I kind of just ended up there, but I think it's better than it was in the fall last year for sure. The biggest thing I notice is your arc into one is way wider. You know, before we were just driving straight into turn one, and it was super hard to pass people and things like that. And now you can get a pretty big arc into there, and that's just getting better and better as the weekend goes on. So that part has been huge. I think that's going to make it easier for people to pass each other into one. And honestly, you can use up more racetrack in 3 and 4. You know, last year you had to be right on the white line, and now you could get up probably a car width and still be pretty good. And we saw that in the race last year. So I think it's getting there. It just takes time. You know, it's hard to rush these things, and they've been doing the best they can to rush it. But I think it is progressing nicely, better than some other repaves I've seen.
All right. Well, Ryan, thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.